Hey folks, Steve here with a intermission video, maybe you could call it. We are coming off of the 1918-1919 Storm in the West playthrough, a series of playthroughs, and while the review for that game is forthcoming, I probably won't have it till later in the week if I have it this week at all. But I need to start looking ahead to the next thing that we're going to play on camera. We got through some of the World in Flames stuff. I put that to rest. We did the 1918-19. That was sort of a special thing because we were waiting for that game to come out. We really wanted it to see published. It did get published. So that's going to kind of close a nice book on things. And I've put a playlist together on YouTube so you can track the whole story if you really want to. But yeah, now we need to look at what we're going to play next. And, I have newer games. I have a variety of things I want to look at. But what I've done is I've created a little list here on wheeldecide.com. This is just your basic, there's all kinds of different variations of this where you can spin a wheel. You can input a list of things. You can make it quite large, up to 100 choices. And then you spin the wheel, which is basically, it's just a die roll to randomly select something. And for our purposes, this is going to be what I'm going to play next on camera. Now, I have a huge list of games that probably need to be played at some point, but not all of them are very solitaire-friendly. And I do want to keep it to solitaire-friendly for what I record on camera. I have two-player games that I'm going to play probably with my wife, and then when I feel comfortable enough to do a review for a game, I'll do that, like I did with The Great Crisis of Frederick II. But for what you guys will see on camera, I've sort of put a list together of games that I've wanted to play, that I have, that I haven't gotten to the table enough to really try them out. So I'll talk through each one of these, and then we'll spin the wheel and we'll see what we get. Now, I know folks have wanted me to play War and Peace. I am waiting for my upgrade kit for the 5th printing to bring it up to the 6th printing, or 6th edition, however you want to look at it, from the Kickstarter. So I had purchased a 5th edition. I'm waiting for the 6th edition component updates that I put in on that Kickstarter. Once I have those, I'll be more open to playing it, but I don't want to do that until I get those components, kind of integrate it into my game as is, and figure out when and how we're gonna play that. I know people want to see that, and because of that, I'm gonna put off Nations in Arms as well. It's another Napoleonic game that I do already like and would like to show on camera more, but I'm gonna shelve all of that for now. So we'll look at that. But for now, this is the list I put together. I'll talk really briefly about each one. The first one here is kind of covered up by this text, but Men of Iron, which is basically the Great Battles of History, but for the medieval period. There were 4 games in the series. I have all 4. The only one that I've played, and I played it opposed with a friend of mine, was Arquebus, which is the 4th volume. It is a little bit later in the time frame, where you have gunpowder units and whatnot, or more gunpowder units compared to other volumes. But I do have the tri-pack, which is volumes 1 through 3. So basically, if this result comes up, I will pick one of the volumes and we'll play at least one battle from that game. At least one. If I'm really into it, I'll play multiple. But we'll do that for Men of Iron. Right below it is Great Battles of History. So I have most of the Great Battles of History series. And so if I bring that, then I'll pick something. We did cover some battles from Hoplite previously, or one battle from Hoplite. But I've got plenty of other ones to try out and play, so we will look to do that. I have Mark Walker's 65, which is a tactical Vietnam game. This came from a Kickstarter several years ago. I did go in on the Kickstarter. I've had this for a really long time. I've not played it at all. Because of the Kickstarter stretch goal stuff, I do have some solitaire rules for it. So either using the solitaire rules or just playing straight up, I could play this solitaire. So it's a tactical Vietnam game set in 1965. That's as much as I can really say on it. We'll cover it in more depth if I roll it. I've got plenty of magazine games from a variety of different magazine sources, so if I roll this, I will dig into my magazine treasure trove and pull something out. The nice thing about magazine games is they are usually smaller and easier to play through, so that'll be easy. On to Paris is a Franco-Prussian war game published by Compass Games. It is using a modified system that was used in the Victory Games Civil War game, and it's roughly the same time period, right? So someone adapted the Civil War game, the Victory Games Civil War game, to the War of 1870, the Franco-Prussian War, and so that was published by Compass Games a while back. I have it. I've wanted to bust it out. I just haven't had a chance. So that's there on to Paris. I'm going to skip this one really quick and just talk to Case Yellow 1940, which is upside down. Case Yellow 1940 is technically not part of the Dark series or the Deadly series, like the Dark Valley, the Dark Sands, but to me it's like unofficially a part of it. It has all the same game mechanics, or very similar. It has its own twist because it's covering this specific campaign in 1940 in World War II. But to me, it's very close, and I have it. I've wanted to play it because I played the other games by Ted Racer in this vein, so I kind of want to complete that before the next entries in the series, the Dark Summer and the Deadly Woods, come out. So that's an option here. I'm going to skip this one for now and talk about Fall of the Third Reich. This is another Ted Racer game. I don't think it is chit pull, but it covers 1943 to 1945 European theater of World War II. It's not Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It is Fall of the Third Reich specifically, so it's not that old game from the 80s. It is a newer game that Ted designed that just covers really the Allied landings in Europe and the defeat of the Axis powers. So that's something I've had for a year. I'd really like to try it out and see how it plays. The other two options that I skipped over here, which are Korea Ice and Fire, or I'm sorry, Korea Fire and Ice, and Vietnam Rumor of War, which is upside down right here. These are two games in a series published by Compass Games, Operational something series. Forget exactly what it's OSS. I'm not sure. Forget what the abbreviation stands for. But they're both in the same system. They cover Cold War conflicts. Korea covers the 1950 Korean War. Vietnam covers the Vietnam War. These are games that are pretty different. Their system is really interesting. It's hex and counter, but the counters don't have factors. The combat system is really interesting and kind of unique in the way it's set up. And it's just kind of an interesting twist on operational games. The maps are huge, but the number of counters is small, and the action moves supposedly pretty quickly. Some of these games might have some issues with errata, particularly Vietnam, but I do have both. I kind of want to try them out and see how they go. So they're on this list. I'd probably want to play Korea more than Vietnam, just because I think Korea is probably a little simpler and I can get my feet wet in the system. So I could, if I end up rolling Vietnam, I might change my mind and just make it Korea because it might be better to start there. So all these options are on the table. We'll see what I roll. If you're upset with what I roll, let me know, and maybe we'll re-roll. I don't know. The nice thing about these sort of spin the wheel thing is, like, if you get a result that you don't like, maybe that result shouldn't have been in the list in the first place, and you can take it out and roll it again. Or it helps you decide, which one of these do you really want to play more than the others, and it can help narrow down your decision. So, yeah, we'll decide for you. Ultimately, I have the power to overrule the wheel. We'll play whatever. But, yeah, let's see what we get on the roll. Spinning, spinning, spinning. And we are Fall of the Third Reich. Okay. Well, I'm actually pretty happy with that roll. So, yeah, I'm going to start reading the rules for Fall of the Third Reich. I'm going to start going through all the materials for this. I think I did an unboxing video for it a long time ago, but we didn't really play it, so I'm going to look at doing that. I still need to do the review for 1918, so I'll work on that separately, but then we will start to get into Fall of the Third Reich. So, yeah, there you go, guys. You might say, Steve, why'd you even make this video? I don't know. I just thought it would be fun for you to see the uncertainty of the situation, and you can see kind of where I'm going. So we'll play through Fall of the Third Reich, and when we're done with Fall of the Third Reich, to whatever degree we decide to go with it, we'll look at doing another World War I game. Whether or not we'll use the wheeldecide.com method of choosing, I don't know yet, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Get stoked for Fall of the Third Reich. That is what's coming down the pipeline, and we'll catch you later. Take care. Keep gaming.